Okay, we move on to the third part of our session. And this session was designed post doing a survey with our parents group, and we had almost 100 responses. And the purpose was to understand what is the expectation of the parent from the child, and what are the key challenges that the parent see that their children, or children in general as well, might be facing. And we have with us Mr. Suresh Tyagarajan, a co-founder for Mata Career Counseling and Training. And I would hand it over to him. He will share some of the key results. And from this results, we thought of having a debate on the first key problem area, and which is digital detoxification. So first about the results, a quick report, and then we will move on to the debate, which will be moderated by Dr. Richard. Yes, sir. Over to you.
Looking at the results, we have divided the survey in 3 areas. One is on the behavior front, and another one was the career, and this third one was on the future. So the behavior for the 13 years and above, and for the range of 10 to 12 years, we found the topmost pain area was my child spends a lot of time on social media. So we wanted to take it up as an first action item and a priority, and we wanted the stakeholders to be involved, and that's how the Hamtum You and Me session for today is planned. So, ma'am, you can go to the next.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so this is what we are planning now. It will be coming in another few seconds. The other 2 aspects of career, the consolidation for career is, you can see most of them is around, I'm not able to decide the subjects, I'm not able to decide the grade 11 and grade 12 subjects. I'm not sure about my career options. All those are coming up as top priority. And the last consolidation is on the future. And in terms of action item for the career, many of them were not sure about their internship. So there are 2 possibilities. I have a lot of internship. I don't know where to choose. So you can use decision analysis and resolution. So we are offering them guidelines. And coming to the future, it's about what type of job I should take. Should I go for life skills learning? Should I go for higher studies oriented towards my job? So different options, and a lot of parents have given their needs in this area. Of course, the future depends on the action items that we take on behavior and career part. So we are positioning future later. So we will move on to Hamtum session to look at what the stakeholders have to say about my child does a lot of time on social media.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Suresh.
Yes.
So we move on to the session, Dr. Richard. We have the parents participants as well as the young adults participants with us. On the parent side, we have Tripat, who is representing one of the parent. We have Nimisha, one of the parent. Okay, I think few people have not been able to join. Okay, we'll add more probably. And then on the kids side, we have Bandhana Bajaj. We have Sunav Bajaj. Okay, so now what I'll have to do is I will have to.
Ma'am, Joshua also is there.
Okay. Yes, Joshua is there. So, Dr. Richard, over to you. We will add few more participants from here itself. Animisha, would you like to join and be on the young adults, the children's side?
I'd like to join. I'm Akshat.
Oh, hey, Akshat.
I don't mind talking on the students. Yeah.
Okay, so Akshat is going to represent the student side.
Yeah, I will talk on behalf of the students.
Okay, all right. So Dr. Richard, over to you with the topic. Can you please give a quick brief and then lead the session?
Okay, good evening, friends. Respected our Madam Harmeet, Suresh sir, and today's speaker, Ankit. It was a very, very interesting session. And also, Manan, very happy to see him after a long time, and very clarity of thought, and really, proud about the initiative that he has started. What we call it, Citizens Energy for Social Contribution, right? That's good. So I strongly believe uh, the heart of education is the education of the heart. Okay, so I think that has taken place, and he's able to share. Right. So having said that, friends, today the discussion is on uh, the youth and social media and what is the current situation. So we will have three levels. First, I will give you some basic background and statistics of what is social media doing in our country like this. Okay, some of the, because it is very important for parents to understand how critical and crucial the situation is if one is not very careful. I will also highlight based on some experiences of the cases that we have handled and what all can be the effects with a specific focus on psychosocial aspects. And then we would go for a debate listening to all of you. Okay, whether social media, I have three basic questions to ask both parents as well as the children, and then last I will conclude with some intervention strategy of how we can manage if we cannot completely remove it from our life, because today it has become one of the aspects of our own common living. Okay, all of us know that India is the second highest internet user in the world. India has got the second highest internet users, and India offers the cheapest internet in the world. 1 GB internet is less than $1. Okay, and India has got, okay, out of all the 2.9 billion internet users, 56 are already using a smartphone. Okay, and internet penetration is 15 percentage. That was about a few years now. Definitely it is on the increase. Okay, and India had already had a 519 million mobile internet users as per the survey by 2014. Okay, and India and China are adding 18 million and 12 million mobile subscription every year. Okay, and 95 percentage of the Indians will have the mobile phone in the next few years. Okay, 40 percentage of the people check their email as their first task of the day. These are very interesting facts that we have done. Okay, and 70 percentage, or it can be even more, use, that's an Australian study conducted, use mobile phone in public places. Okay, and another interesting by Times of India, a report in 2017, many youth are replacing smartphone with the drug users. So people have moved from alcohol addiction to Android addiction. Okay, and 45 percentage goes for the entertainment, and 34 percentage of the time people spend is on social media and messaging. And every Indian spends roughly about 28 hours on mobile every week, 5 hours a day. Okay, uh, so a lot of very interesting statistics. And okay, and India is the second largest online market apart from China, and Google is the second most used in India. 82 percentage of accounts after Indonesia, with 83 percentage of the Google accounts, maybe any sorts of this thing. So dear friends, this is the just background of what the current situation we are. Uh, all of us know that most of the online crimes happen after 11 o'clock. Okay, it's mostly to do with the misuse of the social media. And the other very the recent things that we are coming to know about in our sessions is cyber sexual addiction, cyber relationship addiction, and overnight come. Another interesting thing is now many, even though we say children, there are also some adults are getting addicted to, and information overload, and the gaming addiction is another. In fact, currently we are involved in a research in association with NIMHANS, National Institute of Mental Health and Neuroscience, on the gaming addiction or a gaming addictive behavior among the school students. Okay, now this is the situation in which we are there. I can go on presenting you so much statistics. I can also tell you what all it can happen, how people, some of them, so brilliant children, they get into. I'm not saying something bad is happening, but then they forget the world. Okay, it's not need not be even children; it can also be older adults. Okay, so this is the situation. I would like to ask 3 questions. Whoever is going to speak, I think Suresh sir will moderate. 3 questions to both the parents as well as the children who are going to represent. Is it really an addiction? Okay, are we blowing it out of proportion? Okay, or if you look at majority of the people who say internet addictions are the parents. No youth is saying we are addicted. So it also has got to the cultural and the worry. Today, many parents are worried. Those days, parents were also addicted to something else. Need not be internet. Some parents, when they come to me in counseling, they say, "Sir, those days we never did everything. Those days there was no internet." Okay, maybe you had some other way of entertainment. Today things are changing. Okay, so my first question. Second question, very important. Does this addiction, social media addiction, does it isolate people or it strengthen the network? Okay, so you will have to tell me, because if you have to take a stand. Because parents' worry is, I am a parent of a teenage child and then late childhood child, and ma'am and Suresh are all of us. Parents' concern is whether the child is spending too much time. Is it getting addicted, or is he getting isolated? Or as the many youth claim that no, we are only strengthening the network. Today, sitting at home, I don't know. Sometime back there was one Airtel money advertisement was there. Father is saying, no, I have to go pay that bill, this bill. How do I manage? By the time dad finishes speaking, son pays all the bill and takes, dad, I finished. Okay, so that's a very dramatic way of presenting it. But is it really happening? We do not know. So, of course, they have a commercial interest in it. The third one, if at all, if we are feeling it is an addiction, who is responsible? Is it children themselves or the parents? Why I am saying is that today, freedom is associated with the mobile phone. Okay, I give freedom to my child. I have given mobile phone. Love is associated with the mobile phone. Do you love me? Yes. Then give me Apple phone. Okay. So how are we going to balance? It's like walking on a tightrope. Okay, like a two-edged sword. You can use it positively as well as negatively. But what we are talking today is about the extreme cases and the addictive behavior. Okay, there is a strong connection. Yesterday I was reading a research connection between FOMO, you know that, fear of missing out. I will talk about it a little later. This is about corridor behavior in schools. Very interesting concept. Corridor behavior means how students behave in the corridor, meaning inside the classroom, children look very disciplined, pleasant, very attentive and all that. During that 15-minute break, lunch break, how is their behavior in the corridors? Now, the study concludes this corridor behavior has got a lot to do with the children's addictives. For example, one example I will give you. Okay, the gaming. Okay, today you take any game. Okay, the winner of the game practically kills shooting. Okay, so one simple message that is perpetrated in the mind is, if you want to live, kill others. Okay, and it is only when you kill that you can live, right? So these are all some of the indirect messages, and that gets inside, okay, as a part of all this gaming addiction or a internet addiction. So with this backgrounds, I invite parents. Okay, so please be specific when you talk, and please be maintain. This is a forum. and kindly maintain the decorum. Need not accuse people. Okay, so just project in your, put your views in a most polite way and very brief and in a way that everybody is able to understand. So hope, I think this introduction is okay, Professor Armit. We
Yes,
will
sir.
start listening to the parents. Okay, right.
Right.
Thank you. And you will moderate, ma'am. Who will speak?
Yeah. Um,
Okay.
so, Mr.
I would like
Tripada,
to,
would you?
yeah. So uh, I would like to say that associating freedom with giving a mobile may not be a very good notion. Mobile today has become more than a tool for just for uh, communication. Mobile is a primary area of primary tool for research. Mobile is a primary tool for many other things. It's how one is using mobile. What is your uh, uh, agreement with your ward of how to use it becomes very important as a discussion point. So I would just want to add and say that if um, one monitors and one exposes kids to the new tools available, and puts checks and balances so that the ward and the kid becomes responsible for managing the time. It's easier said than done, but I think that's the process that I would like to share as a parent.
Okay, excellent. Tripat sir is a father of two teenage children, and beautifully he said it need not be freedom, and it is basically what do you call balancing between you and your child. Okay, right versus duties. Okay, what is your duty and what are your rights? Okay, and today it has become an integral component of their education. Okay, me as a professor in a college teaching psychology, the same teacher who was telling students don't use mobile, okay, today we are saying I have sent everything in mobile, kindly check. Okay, so since have changed.
That's
Okay,
interesting.
and so how do yes, so children should not be confused. Okay, imagine the parents, their situation is also same. Okay, that's a very valid point. It is basically, and today so many apps are there, education apps. Okay, so many things are being used, but it's basically how do you balance. That's a very good point, sir. Thank you. Yes,
All right.
any other yeah.
Yes. Akshat,
Yeah.
would you like to bring in your perspective?
Sure, Auntie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as technological usage is concerned among teenagers, at least speaking from my perspective, I will admit the surge of how much we would use technology has gone up since we grow mature and older. And this is an obvious change which is going to bring up. Coming to the fact of addiction, when the point is, Auntie, not everybody or every child is addicted. And I understand that we're only using the most extreme cases as an example over here. But what we need to take into consideration is that at our generation and at the pace of at which the world is moving, one cannot survive without being reliant on technology to at some level at all. Now, when you talk about social media addiction in another sense, granted, children do misuse social media, children are hooked onto it. But rather than simply saying that it is the children who have to prioritize, we need to take into account that, Jonas sir is a psychology professor and he would know better than anyone that the human mind is rather fragile. And the most commonly used social media application right now, at least among teenagers, being Instagram. I've read that the algorithm through which Instagram is designed is in fact designed in such a way which gets its users hooked onto it and keeps people on the app for a long time. So it is not entirely the student's fault or the children's fault, but definitely we all have a hand to play in this kind of a situation.
All right. Thanks, Akshat.
Okay, good. Very good, Akshit. Very beautifully put it. There is a positive correlation. The higher you grow, the more technology you use. But there again, there can be a positive or negative correlation. Some people may,
Absolutely.
okay, yeah. And what we talked about is only the extreme cases where people are not able to be balanced. Okay, and once they misbalance, the technology takes over. Problem with the technology is till certain limits. When we employ it for effective use, it is useful. Beyond one level, when we too much depend on technology, it completely takes over. That is where we really nearly have to be. I can give you hundreds of examples of people over relying on technology has missed out the basics. Okay, problems that could be solved with a simple communication. I'll tell you. So today, the biggest problem as a family counselor, as a marriage counselor, Professor Harmeet and Ma'am Harmeet and me, when we listen to the couple down the line, okay, shadow, what they don't say is technology has played a major role in dividing people. Technology which was brought to communicate to people together, today it is separating. For example, simple rumors. Okay, so through technology, WhatsApp is nothing but those days people talking on, gossiping. Sometimes when they misuse, some of the not negative things are happening. So how they use is very, very important. And then you talked about also the commercial interests. This is called commercialization of emotions. That is, they know what you like and then they do the business. Okay, that's a big lobby, that is a bigger business going on. Okay, a simple example would be celebrating earlier, February 14 lovers day. Okay, that itself people said, oh, why now today people started celebrating Father's Day, Mother's Day, Brother's Day. Are they not our brother and mother other days? This is called pure business commercialization of emotions. Now you see, now the mask advertisements, how they are going to come now. Now now COVID is also opening a door for again business. Now what I am saying is, as people who are really concerned, we should be very prudent. How far is too far? Okay, how much technology is required in my family life, relationship and friendship? So once somebody is balanced, I think that's very good. Actually, beautifully you put it. Very nice.
All right.
Good.
Thank you,
Yeah.
doctor.
Nimisha, would you like to represent the parent side? And then I would call Animisha and then Manan.
And there are also some questions there in the chat. We can.
Yes, sir. Nimisha, are you there? I can, yeah. Yes, Nimisha.
Hi, Harmeet.
Yeah.
I just would like to say that when internet comes in our life, we were not aware of the.
I'm sorry, Nimisha is representing parent,
The
right?
parents, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good. Yeah, please go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I would like to say that when the internet came to our life, we didn't know about the repercussion or extreme things about that. We just started using it. So we didn't have that much knowledge or that much education around that. Now we have a lot of research, lot of shortcomings, which we now know how bad it can be or how good it can be. So I'm not saying that is the whole responsibility on the student or parent or kids, whatever. My point of view, they know that now we are aware, we are in this position where we can balance it somehow. So without this, we cannot deal with the present scenario. So first we have to have acceptance for this, that yes, we have to use it. We will have to give child mobile. We have to expose them to all those things. But at what cost? The education we should give them. We have lot of discussion. We have lot of information. In a way, they don't feel that we are lecturing all the time. As a teenage parent, I know if I keep on saying one thing again and again, is lose the value. So in my opinion, we have to accept that internet would be there, but how to use it, how much use it is depends on both the side, parent side and the kid side. They both need to understand the responsibility, the parents responsibility to understand their kids need and to educate them about it, have an open discussion about it, what is pros and cons if you're doing social media, Instagram, whatever is there. And the kids need to understand and participate and be free, say ki, look, I like Instagram, but I don't know how much I need to do. If they both have a communication going on, then I think the children are very smart nowadays. They can understand. But there are a lot of communication needed, a lot of education needed regarding this, and this discussion should keep going on about it. Then I think both the parent and the kids can come together, and I'm not saying we can solve the problem immediately, but yeah, we can be aware and go with it slowly.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, okay, very nice, madam. Good, very, very positive parents. Now it's a time not to blame. Okay, not to blame. Anyway, it has become reality now. Whether you like it or not, they are called internet kids, and their generation is going to be living with internet. And how do we balance? And beautifully, you talked about developing communication. That's what we teach in our workshops also for parents on positive discipline. We talk to parents on positive discipline. One of the important aspects that we cover is it is always better to prepare and prevent than to repair and repent. Okay, better to
Right.
prepare and prevent than to repair and repent. And beautiful, madam. Very nice, nice.
Right.
Next.
So, friends, we are overshooting the time. So please, we will be finishing this. We have 4-5 more perspectives to come in, and then we will wind up.
There are
Yeah.
some questions. There are some questions.
Yeah, there are
One
questions.
question.
Let me first let the first registered participants speak about it, and then we will take the questions quickly.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So yes, Joshua, would you like to talk about it first, and then I'll go to Animisha, and then Manan. Joshua?
Ma'am, what is the question on which I should speak?
You can pick, so you know all the 3 questions. Can you pick any one of them and bring in your perspective? How much is too much? Is it okay to be internet savvy or digital savvy? Do you see that this is an addiction coming in? Anything which you would like to bring in your perspective?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I would like to know what exactly does addiction mean? Like, how do you define addiction?
Good question.
Very
Okay.
nice.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I will operationalize here. Operational definition I'll give you here, without which a person is not able to be peaceful. Okay.
Okay, that's very vague.
Okay.
But
Nomophobia,
like,
we call it. No mobile phone. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, when you say we can't survive without it, there are many objects in our life which you can't survive without. Like, if you take food or water, you can't call that an addiction. It's something
Okay.
you need for necessity. So when you say social media, there are many other apps which you call social media. Like there's WhatsApp, which you only
Okay.
message people. There is
Okay.
Instagram, where you get useful information about the situation that's happening around the world.
Okay. Joshua, one clarification. When I say addiction, we are talking about extreme cases. Okay, we are not talking about the apps. I think if you have been listening to my talk from the beginning, okay, what we are saying is the extreme cases where parents are really worried. You are representing parent or
Child.
students?
Students.
You are a child. Okay, so as a child, you should understand it is not, we are not talking about the positive. Mr. Tripath beautifully said, no, today it has become normal. The schools are saying, please use. We are not talking about that. Okay, when we are talking about people getting into extremes, when I say extremes, you know it. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
that is what we are. Maybe the word you are a little disturbed by the word addiction word, but what I'm saying is excessive social media. Okay, it disturbs your what do you call emotional aspect. Your relationship with the family is not okay. Your concentration with the academics gets reduced. Okay, and these people are also tend to develop low self-esteem, depression. Okay, and what we call it FOMO, fear of missing out. Okay, so this is what we call it as the negative effects of a social media. Okay, Need not be the word addiction as such. I'm talking about the psychosocial aspects. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So,
Yes.
Animisha, would you like to share your perspective? We are not able to hear you. You have unmuted yourself, but we are not able to hear you.
Can you hear me
Yes,
now?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So, what I would like to talk about is I think over here balance is definitely key. We obviously cannot like look over the fact that social media has been an integral part of our lives now, especially during the COVID times where it has like enabled us to communicate with our peers, even though we are not allowed to in person communicate. But also, I think we need to keep in mind that social media definitely cannot replace the importance of in-person communications, and it's not equal to them at all. Uh, Social media provides like a very good platform for to like talk to friends, but I think even like even though we can text people, call people, like it can't replace in-person communications. And uh, what again? One more thing is yeah. One more thing I'd like to talk about is the addiction part. I think in order to I think one key thing is that people should uh, like take social media breaks regularly. I think that's one thing very important because like just like and I think it's very simple, but it can be very helpful to just see what you're about it and just like be in touch with like your in-person life.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Manan, you have a perspective, and then we will move on to Sunav and Bandhana.
Kishore, put your video
Sir,
off.
I have removed him. I have removed him.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
So, Manan, and then Sunav and Bandhana, and then we will have the final learnings coming from Dr. Richard.
Yeah, hi. So, just quickly, one point I'll make so that we can, get through this discussion is that Professor Jonas talked about what happens in extreme cases, like when a child is not able to function normally or do his sort of perform his normal duties because he's so addicted to social media. So the thing I noticed that, see, looking back, I believe sometime in my 7th or 8th grade, maybe I was also totally addicted to social media. Facebook had just, launched itself into India at that time, become so popular, and I was also hooked onto it like 7, 8 hours a day, maybe. But what happens is, I believe that once you hit rock bottom, like once you start using social media, you start overusing it, and there comes a point in life when you realize that this thing is really harming you. Maybe you see your grades fall down, maybe you see your relationship disassociating, maybe you feel that you're now not that kind of a person which you used to be. So at that particular point of time, you kind of hit rock bottom. You realize that you're doing something very wrong, and I believe doing that is a very important factor in sort of having a self-correcting mechanism kick in, because further in life, at each point of time, they are going to be indulgent. You're going to be indulging in things which maybe may harm you if you overindulge into them. There will always come a point, maybe you get into drugs which you should not have, maybe you get into alcohol, maybe some that point of time. But it is important to have experience of getting back on your feet once you've fallen down, I believe. And if this kind of learning comes earlier on in life, maybe a person who is in a sort of a child who is in 5th grade, he sort of realizes that he's overusing his social media. His parents are telling him not to do it, but he's not listening to them. And there comes a point in time he realizes that, oh, I'm close to flunking my 5th grade. And so he'll then think back, he'll think, why is that happening? Then I believe it will be in itself a self-correcting mechanism, and that person will grow out to become a better version of himself through this. So I believe, and if parents sort of force him or snatch away his phone, then they are sort of intervening in a way which is prohibiting him from developing himself. So this kind of a perspective I really wanted to put forth. And that's also another thing is thing very important is that, see, as humans we tend to live in silos. The kind of socialization I would have had I not been, or had a person not been on social media, is the kind of socialization he would get from his immediate family or from his school. And not all of us, are as lucky as to be in a very open environment, or to have people around us who have very progressive views. So if someone is a sort of in an unfortunate situation in which he has sort of people around him who are not very forward looking, people who are kind of hooked on to their own things, then I believe social media can really be a sort of a release for him to get acquainted with new value systems, to get acquainted with people, to get acquainted with cultures he is not formally familiar with. And when he gets into that process of familiarizing himself with new cultures, new things, new ideas, then he breaks out of a sort of silo which he would be living otherwise. And that is also a very important process as a person grows out to become a sort of better version of himself. And I think one parent mentions that children nowadays are very smart. Mostly all parents mention that. I would like you to think, why is that so? Why do you believe that children nowadays are very smart than what they used to be back earlier? That is because they are exposed to a sort of variety of information, a variety of ideas which the earlier generation was not. So when they get to analyze these sort of things, when they get to expose themselves to these sort of things, they gradually become smarter than the earlier generation. And I believe that process is also very important, and there's no escaping from it. So today you feel that today my professors tell me that you should take notes on your mobile phone and sort of have a calendar app installed on your phone and sort of mark your routine on it so that you can manage your time very well. So I'm not acquainted to this sort of a thing since my childhood, because I'm used to planning myself out manually only, not electronically. But I find that people who do it electronically do it in a much better way. They're able to manage the time in a much better way. And I'm trying to adapt to it now. So I believe the more open you are with these sort of things, the more you try to embrace it rather than, avoid it or control it. I believe you'll just come out a better version of yourself gradually. That's
All
all.
right. Good, good. Thanks, Manan, for your point of view. Yes, Sunav, Bajaj and Panna Bajaj, quickly, you'll share your perspective.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I just like to add a little bit to the point that Akshat, I think, made. And he said that we were talking mostly about extreme cases. So to like add to that, I think it's important that like parents in general don't with generalize like and make assumptions about how much their children are using social media. And that's why the point I'd like to make is that it's important for parents to like communicate with their children, and it's also important for parents to have like a certain level of trust with their child. Yeah, that's the point I'd like to make.
All right. Thank you. Sunav?
Hello everybody. Firstly, I would like to say that I feel some points were very well covered by the previous speakers. So so I would like to talk about how social media and how there are many uses to social media than just what we think. Like for example, um, for example, communication, exposure to or keeping up with news, exposure to different concepts that are available on the internet. So I feel that when when one of these uses overpowers, or even entertainment could be a usage, when one of these overpowers or becomes the dominant use for social media, and when that reaches or like even covers all the other usages, then at that point it could it could be a point of addiction where they have to find the value of, where like the people who are addicted have to find the value of the other usages to lead a more productive lifestyle.
All right. Thank you. Yes, sir. So largely in the chats, it's yes, everybody has put in their viewpoint and how do they think about it. I would request you to conclude.
Okay, okay, good. Any other parents are here who have, would like to have anything you want to ask? Because generally parents feel more concerned about it, because we deal with a lot of youth. Anyway, I know what youth our perspective is, because the majority of the times it is the demythifying parents is sometimes, because some parents are over worried. That's one of the reasons. Okay, and it's all about managing. Okay, madam, messaging.
How to detoxify? If one,
Yeah.
when
Yes,
is one should worry when that it is crossing that line, and how to detoxify? I think that's an important question in the
very
chat
good,
as well.
very good, sir. Thank you, thank you, sir. And friends, it is basically, when we say preventing social media addiction, or maybe the addiction, the word is more stigmatized, so we will not use the word addiction. So excessive social media, when we have the excessive social media, it can affect not only the academics, all aspects of life. Okay, since it is students, we are talking about academics. It can be for the elders, which can affect their work schedule, disturbances. Okay, right. Now when we say as an intervention strategy, it is not exclusively for social media. That's parents have to remember. It is generally how you trust your beautifully. Sunav Bajaj, I think she said about trust. Okay, principles of creating trust have not changed. Methodology would have changed. The basic principles are same. How far I trust my child, how far the child feels trusted. That's very important, dear friends, dear parents. It is not that we don't trust our children. Okay, we love them. Also, for that matter of love, the child should feel loved. So whether the child feels loved, trusted. So the first principle, the suggestion is, let the child feel trusted and accepted. The child knows, yes, I am trusted. The second one is, identify the belief behind the behavior. Every behavior has got a belief behind it. Okay, child is spending so much time, or child is putting so much password. Sometimes the colleges, when we find mobile phones, when we catch them in the school, lot of so difficult password and all they put. For what? We ask why. Even to your parents, why? Okay, so do we respect their privacy? Okay, they are grown-ups. Okay, need to respect their privacy. But before that, we need to identify the belief behind their the behavior. Third one is, respect before you expect. Okay, children need to be respected. Okay, and even before you expect, and they need to be told. And fourth one is being a role model. And we know we have a case, ma'am will remember, family came because excessive social media, the daughter is always on, but the problem is with the father. Father is also doing that. Okay, and we made a simple rule: every day night at 10 o'clock, everybody will leave the mobile phone in the hall and go to their rooms. Okay, everybody was willing except the father. Okay, so you understand. So values cannot be taught, values can only be caught. So if you really want your child to be having certain positive behavior, I believe it has to start from the parents. Any change that doesn't start from top will not sustain. Okay, and this is for the children. Develop healthy offline friendship. Don't compare yourself with others too much. Stay strong with the insults and humiliations, because one of the reasons why people get into this is lack of emotional resilience. Okay, I have certain emotional disturbance. Instead of getting into something that promises me a different world, okay, I should be able to face it. Okay, and don't use this as a chance. I'm talking about extreme cases where people use for bullying or cyber humiliation. Okay, and respect your culture and values. Okay, and above all, come out of this FOMO. Don't think that you are missing out your life, something else is happening. Okay, you always develop a feeling, except you, when you open a Facebook, Except you, everybody is having a nice, nicer holidays. Everybody is eating in a nice restaurants. Okay, these are all one aspects. So we need to be little more cautious. Okay, and I think within a short time, this is what we could share. Maybe if the coming sessions time permits, I think contact details, you can always get in touch with us. We can share more resources to you. Okay, and exclusively for parents, how do you deal with the children? Okay, because today's children are highly fragile. Okay, one word can really spark a lot of issues. So we need to travel with them, journey with them, okay, without affecting their emotional life, which is very important for anybody to live a positive, healthy, and otherwise it will lead to underachievement and low productivity. Okay. So with this a few words, I would conclude, and very happy that I think a lot of feedback is coming. We are very happy that to support any parent feels anytime, kindly get in touch with Harmeet ma'am. Definitely we will help you.
All
Okay.
right.
So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Richard. So thank you so much, Ankit and Manan, for making this a very powerful session. Thank you to all the participants in the debate to make it a very interactive session. And thank you, a special thanks to Mr. Suresh Tyagarajan and Dr. Richard, the strong pillars of Farmata, for having this happen. Without you, I cannot do this. Thank you so much. We meet next month again in this Knowledge Series 4, and again with an exciting speaker, exciting session and an interesting speaker. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.